Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala Rasulil Kareem. Respected friends and brothers, once some brothers went in Gasht. They were talking to a brother to encourage him to go out with them in Jamaat. So he said, I can't come, I've got exams. So they gave him more targhib. Inshallah, we know you're revising, but you actually get more revision done in the path of Allah. As Hafiz Sahib Rahmatullah used to say, studies may be first, deen may be first. So he said, I've got my final exams. I'm cramming for my finals. In English we use that term, cramming for my finals. Yani, in a short time, trying to get as much information into my brain as possible. He said, I'm cramming for my finals. So the Sathis, one of the Sathis said, what do you think we're doing? What do you think we're doing? We've all got our finals coming up. The final of the dunya is nothing. You fail, you can resit. But all of us have got the finals for the akhirat coming up. And this effort is a preparation for that. لا يزال قدم ابن آدم يوم القيامة حتى يسأل عن خمس. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, in the field of resurrection, the ground will hold a person. A person will not be able to move from his place. You and I, all of us, Muslim, non-Muslim, male, female, every single person. 5 questions will be put to every single person. An umrihi fima afna. Where did you utilize your life? Wa an shababihi fima abla. Where did you utilize your youth? It makes the question arises that when the question was posed about life, youth is included in there. Why are you asking me again about my youth? Because youth is a very special time in a person's life. In French there's a saying that the youth don't know and the old aren't able. जवानों को पता नहीं और बूढ़ों में ताकत नहीं. When a person's young, he's got energy, he's got strength, he's got the ability to do good, but he's dumb. He's deluded by the dunya. He doesn't know that this is going to take me to Jahannam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Jannat. Sent Jibreel alayhi salam, go for a tour of my Jannat. He came back, he said, Ya Allah, what a beautiful place. I think that if anybody hears about Jannat, they're definitely going to go there. Everyone's going to strive. There's no one going to go into Jahannam. Everyone's going to go into Jannat. Allah Ta'ala said, okay, now go for my tour of Jahannam. He saw Jahannam, the torches. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, people in Jahannam will be crammed into little cells. People will be nailed into walls like nails are hammered into the wall. A person will be hammered into the crevice of Jahannam. Allah Ta'ala protect us all. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, each angel on Jahannam, which will be the afflictors, the tormentors that will punish the person, each angel will be deaf and blind, so they cannot hear the screams of the person. Each angel will be given the strength of all of man and all of jinn accumulated into one farishta, one angel. So when he saw the tortures of Jahannam and the azab and the punishments of Jahannam, he said, Ya Allah, I think if anybody hears about Jahannam, nobody's going to go there. Everyone's going to be saved from Jahannam. Everyone's going to go into Jannat. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala surrounded Jannat with a border, a perimeter around it, and did the same with Jahannam. The perimeter around Jannat is mashaqqat, mujahada, hardships. Wake up for Fajr in the cold, go for Fajr. That's a hurdle you got to cross if you want to get into Jannat. Resist the temptation to do haram, to look at haram, to eat haram. Resist that temptation, you'll overcome that hurdle, you go into Jannat. When Jibreel alayhi salam saw this, he said, Ya Allah, it's become so difficult now, I fear no one will go into Jannat. And on the other hand, when Jahannam was surrounded with a perimeter of khaishat, of desires, do whatever you want, be a free bird, do whatever you want, with whomever you want, whenever you want, in whichever way you want. I want freedom. So the ulama kiram, they say there is no freedom. You're in a misconception. You're deluded. People nowadays are all talking about freedom. I want to be free of my parents, free of my religion, free of the constraints. So the nature of the world, the ulama can explain, is either you will be a slave of Allah, Abdullah, or you will be a slave of your nafs. أَفَرَأَيْتَ مَنِ اتَّخَذَ إِلَهَهُ هَوَى. Those people who are following their desires, they become a slave to their nafs. Then even if they don't want to do it, they have to do it because the nafs is demanding it of them. And then eventually it ends in a tragedy, death by misadventure as they call it. Took an overdose, accidental overdose. Why? Because trying to pacify themselves, trying to get the ultimate buzz, the ultimate high, and the body couldn't take it, kill them. So when Jahannam was surrounded with khaishat and desires, Jibreel Islam saw that and he said, Ya Allah, I fear no one will be saved from this. Everyone will go into Jahannam. Allah Ta'ala protect us. This is why the ulama kiram, the elders, say that Islam and our deen is built on three things, three principles. One is sadgi, simplicity. The other is jafakashi, hard living, mujahada, undergoing hardships. This is the basis of our deen. Any person who undergoes these three things, he will excel in his deen, get close to Allah. And batil, falsehood, is based on three things. Israf, extravagance, spend left, right and center. And khaishat, following one's desires. And obedience to the nafs. This is what falsehood is based on. And so, we have to become slaves of Allah. Today, the dawat is being given all round. They say that every person is bombarded, even if he doesn't have a TV in his house, every single person, hundreds of adverts he's bombarded with every single day. On his phone, outside, billboards, bus stops, buses going by, everything, adverts. And all the adverts are towards khaishat, nafs parasti. Even the Islamic adverts that you see, if you look with the eye of Iman, you think, whoa, hang on, what's going on there? But that's a different bayan altogether. Khaishat all round. But a person, if he resists that, then Allah Ta'ala will give him his nearness. Then a person will enjoy the zikr of Allah, striving out in the path of Allah, undergoing hardships for the sake of Allah. Hazrat Khalid bin Walid radiallahu anhu used to say that if I was to be wedded to the most beautiful girl, drop dead gorgeous, stunner, I get married to her and I can share a bed with her, a warm bed with her all night long. He said, over that I desire that I should be out in the path of Allah, freezing cold, raining, and fear all round, getting ready to face the enemy. I prefer this night over that night. Why? Because they had been striving for the deen of Allah. Allah had given them the halawatul iman. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says in so many hadith, ذَاقَ طَعْمُ الْإِيمان. That person has tasted the sweetness of iman who does so and so, who overcomes his desires. Today, brothers, we have not tasted that. So for us, it's difficult to understand the stories of Sahaba Kiram. We see somebody who's doing a lot of ibadat, you think, because it must be a dukhyaro. Must have some real problems. Probably got court case pending or something. That's what we think. Somebody's going in Jamaat, you think, oh, probably wife chucked him out. Probably trouble in paradise, doesn't get on with the wife, so he's always out in Jamaat. No, you don't understand. He's got something greater than that. Molana Musa Samrodi Rahmatullah used to give an example. He gave this example in 1991 when he came, Dewsbury. So after that, I used to write to him, right up to almost the end when he passed away a few years ago. So मैं जब उनके पास गया था 20 साल बाद, तो I told him, I said, मौलाना तुम्हारी आपकी मिसाल जो है ना चौपाटी वाली, मैं सुनाता हूँ लोगों को. I tell people. So he got dead happy. He said, अच्छी मिसाल है. I said, मौलाना साहब बेहतरीन. What's the example? In India it's chopati because जो जानते हैं, seaside पे जाते हैं and then you get a thing. So here we break it down more understandable for you. A person goes to a takeaway, right? And he orders a kebab, a kabeda, right? And he's a मिर्चों का दिल दादा अन्नहु युहिब्बुल filfil yatashawwaqu ila filfil. So he says to the guy, he says, put extra chilies in it, make sure you make it hot. So the guy, he puts extra chilies in it, he makes it for him. Now he's standing there, he's eating it. Now it's a cold winter's day like this, but when he's eating this marchas, his ears go red, he starts sweating, his whole face goes red, he's like a tomato, right? And his nose is running, his eyes are running, right? And he's going and he's shuffling around. So somebody who sees him is thinking, Kasamti bichara, oh, poor guy, man, he's suffering. But when he finishes, he'll go to the guy, he goes, give me another one, I'll worry about the consequences tomorrow. He said, is that all you got? Put the Jamaican sauce in it, man, make it even hotter. Make it even hotter. So the onlooker, he thinks, Allah, he's being tortured and he's paying to get himself. What a crazy guy. So he'll go to him and say, brother, what are you doing to yourself? Why are you tormenting yourself like this? Going through so much pain and agony. He said, is that what you see, that I'm going through agony? He said, yes. He said, bro, the enjoyment, the relish, the maza I get from this, he said, I can't tell you. He said, after I finish this one, I'm going for another one. But the onlooker can't understand. Why? Because he doesn't experience it himself. In the same way, a person is going out in the path of Allah, undergoing hardships, leaving his wife and kids, 4 months, 40 days, people slamming their doors on his face, people chucking him out of the masjid. But what he's getting in that, he cannot explain, he cannot describe. So this is what we have to strive for, to try to get the halawat and the sweetness of Iman. Today, because we have not made that effort, we get the sweetness of dunya. And that's no big deal to taste the sweetness of dunya. Fir'aun, Qarun, Haman, Shaddad, they all got that. Non-Muslims are getting that. But the real halawat is the halawat of Iman. Just the other day I was reading that on one of the planets, I think it's Venus, you know, they sent these probes and satellites, voyages that they were launched in the 70s, slowly traveling and sending pictures back. So they got a better idea of space. So they have calculated and they have deduced that on Venus, I think it is, when it rains diamonds. When we hear that, we think, Qasamti, how can I get there? If I go there, because we're dunyada, we're thinking, Allah, if I went there, I'd go out with an umbrella for a walk when it starts raining. An inside out umbrella. So it fills up with diamonds. I said that to someone goes, mashallah. I said, forget that. There's another planet that they found. They speculate that the whole planet is made of diamond. Allahu Akbar. Allah has no shortage of anything. Khazana, brothers who've got their phones out, please put the phone away. It is not for us to sit and listen to the talk, but once we sit, it's for us to listen carefully and attentively. Because this is very, very disrespectful to Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If a non-Muslim even came here, a chancellor or a politician, people would be sitting differently, listening differently. So Allah Ta'ala give us all the tawfiq. So brothers, we have to, Allah Ta'ala's khazana is very vast. And He will give us. He's shown us in this world how vast His khazanas are. There's no shortage of anything. How many people there are in the world, how many tons, millions of tons of tomatoes and apples and bananas are being eaten every year. Where does it all come from? It comes from the khazana of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No shortage of anything with Allah. وَمَا يَعْلَمُ جُنُودَ رَبِّكَ إِلَّا هُ. And Allah Ta'ala is Qadir, all powerful. Allah Ta'ala does whatever He wants in whichever way He wants. Bani Israel, a Jamaat of Bani Israel, Alam tara ila alladhina kharaju min diyarihim wa hum ulufun hadar al-maut. A plague had spread. So, the hukam for us is if an illness spreads in an area, then those in that place should not leave. And those outside should not come inside. So people say that, why is that? If Allah Ta'ala is Qadir, then why is He can stop it being contagious? So the ulama ikram say, you don't understand. Why does Allah Ta'ala say that don't leave that place? Because if you leave that place and you go to another place and the illness spreads, people will start saying he brought the illness. Who brings the illness? Allah. You will wreck everyone's iman. That's why. You understand? And if somebody from outside comes in and he dies, people say the illness killed him. Who kills? Allah. So this is how Allah Ta'ala wants to protect our iman. That don't be going saying these daft things. He is doing and she is doing and they will do and that. Nothing can do anything. सब कुछ नहीं है. Allah ही सब कुछ है. जो ला कहा वो ला हुआ. वो ला भी उसमें ला हुआ. जुज ला हुआ, कुल ला हुआ, फिर क्या हुआ? Allah हुआ. When you said la, when you negated, everything was negated. Even the negation within the negation was negated. Everything is nothing. Then what is left? Allah. So Bani Israel, they left. Wahum ulufun. Mufassirin say 70,000 of them. They left the locality. Allah Ta'ala became angry. Why are you leaving? So Allah Ta'ala gave one command. Mutu. Mar jao. In one go, 70,000 of them all dropped dead. In one shot. Thumma ahyahum. Then in one go, Allah Ta'ala brought them all back to life. To show them that I am the doer. I am the giver of life. I am the giver of death. I am the giver of rizq. I am the one who humiliates. I am the one who gives honor. Nobody can do anything. Look at the world with the eyes of Iman. One of our elders used to say that akhbar padna mana nahi hai. We're not preventing you from reading the newspaper. He said, yes, when you go in Jamaat, don't read it then. But if you're at home, read it, okay. Look at the news, read the news, but look at everything with the eyes of Iman. When you look at everything with the eyes of Iman, you won't say that he did and they did, and you'll think Allah did. Allah is the doer, and your Iman will be strengthened. One person in, last story, one person in Frankfurt, I read this in the Times newspaper, it's pretty reliable, about 25 odd years ago. And then I heard the same story from Molana Osman Kazee Sahib Rahmatullah quite a few times in his bayan, so I thought he reads the same newspaper as me. It's a true story. A guy in Frankfurt, he's sick of life, wanted to end his life. So we say that Allah Ta'ala is the giver of life and Allah Ta'ala is the giver of death. So if Allah Ta'ala wants to kill us all, He turns off the oxygen tap. Within minutes we'll all be dead. Yes? So Allah Ta'ala is the giver of death and Allah Ta'ala is the giver of life. But sometimes a person thinks that Allah Ta'ala isn't the giver of death. I can kill myself whenever I want. A person wants to commit suicide, he can commit suicide. Okay, to live I need Allah, but to die I don't need Allah. So Allah Ta'ala sometimes shows us that no, you can't even die without my permission. One person, and these people who try to commit suicide, if you read the reports, it's not the first attempt. There are many times they attempt. Most people, they attempt many times and then eventually they succeed. So this person, he had tried many times to kill himself, but he didn't succeed. He got so fed up of living, he thought, this time I'm going to do something that definitely, without a doubt, I'm going to die. So he thought about his previous attempts. He said, what did I try to do last time? I tried to hang myself. The time before that, I took an overdose of pills. Before that, I tried to drown myself. So he rolled it all into one, and he went on a bridge, and he tied the rope to the bridge, and he put the noose around his neck, and he got all the pills, and stuck them in his mouth, right? And then he got a gun as well. He thought, I'm going to jump, I'm going to hang myself, and then if the rope breaks, I'll fall in the water and I'll drown anyway, right? And I'll swallow the pills, I'll be dead anyway, and then I'll shoot myself, I'll probably be dead. So he went with that intention. But Allah Ta'ala is showing us, this is a newspaper khabar, but if you look at it with Iman, we think, Allahu Akbar, Iman rises. Allah Ta'ala saves whoever He wants, He gives death to whoever He wants. Allah Ta'ala is Qadir. So he jumped, and as he's jumping, at the same time, he shot himself. Allah ka karna that just as he fired, pressed the trigger, the rope jolted. The rope finished, so So he gave him a jolt. वो गर्दन में आ गया फंडा. So his gun, which was on his temple, as he pressed the trigger, it slipped. And Allahu Akbar, the bullet hit the rope. And he fell in the water. And the water was so cold that he gasped, and all the pills came out of his mouth. And there was a boat going past. And they saw him and they pulled him out of the water. 4 methods he applied to kill himself, but his time was not written. Allah Ta'ala had not decreed. Allah Ta'ala saved him.
Wow.
And Germany, I read this as well, and then I heard this again from Molana. In another place in Germany, a person was walking, and there was another person, he wanted to commit suicide, went up in the building, and he jumped from the top of the building to commit suicide. He's jumping, he's falling with the intention of dying. This person is going past with the intention of living. I'll go home, I'll do this, I'll do that. What happened? Allah ka karna. Allah wanted to save him, and Allah wanted to kill him. What happened? This guy fell on that guy. He broke his fall. He walked away. That guy, bichara, he died. So this is every day. Kulla yawmin huwa fi shan. We read things like this every day. It happens every day. But because we don't look at it with iman, we get influenced that, oh, they can do this, and they've done this, and she's doing this, and he's doing this, and no, nobody is nothing. Everything is nothing. Allahu Akbar. This is why we're told in namaz again and again, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Even when you're praying behind Imam, when the Imam Sahib says Allahu Akbar, you have to say Allahu Akbar. So many people, you see them praying namaz, they don't move their lips, but your namaz is not done. The masla is, itna zor se paro ke apne kaan se sun sako. You have to. You can't do it all miming. Why? So that you are telling your own heart, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. You're hearing it from the Imam and you're saying it with your tongue also, so that the iman increases. Before namaz, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, azan. When the child is born, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. In the other ear, iqamat. We are being told. And the ulama kiram, they say, why is Allahu Akbar said 4 times? Because there are 4 elements. Wind, water, fire, earth. All 4 are negated. And 4 directions. East, south, west, north. Everything negated. Nothing is anything. Allah is everything. But we have to create that yaqeen, that iman, brothers. And this is why we are told to go out in the path of Allah. So brothers, make intention, inshallah. Next weekend also, brothers, mashallah, for this weekend, the brothers stayed from morning to evening in the masjid and they performed all the amals. In the same way, brothers, next week will be staying. So make intention, inshallah. And when we are allowed, then make intention for 4 months, inshallah, to go in the path of Allah, to make our iman. Come, brothers.
Your name is Buddhist.